Adventures on the Sword Coast, Chapter 11. After defeating the two Dark Elf guards, the party of adventurers decide to enter the passageway to the south in their quest to search for a magical axe for the Princess Lady Amastacia. As they proceed down the tunnel, it opens up into a room with doors to the east and west, along with stairs to the south leading downwards. Princess enters the room and starts to hear growling noises, but it is unclear as to where these sounds originate from. Alexis Songblessed, impetuous as ever, walks over to the west door where the growling appears to be louder. He turns to the rest of the party and says calmly, "Brace yourselves." As the door opens, a number of hounds can be seen in the room. Alexis looks at the nearest creature and says, "Maybe he's friendly." With this, the hellhound leaps forward towards the open door and exhales its fiery breath, catching Alexis, Princess and Zurek in the blast. Using their dexterity, both Princess and Zurek manage to miss the worst of the flames, but Alexis is hit squarely on the chest. Amos the Destroyer shouts back, "I don't think they are friendly, Alexis." Looking into the room, Princess sees there are at least 3 hellhounds, with the room having no obvious exits other than the door they have opened. Zurek shouts out, "Shut the door!" With this, Princess Lady Amastacia slams the door shut as the hellhounds growl and gnaw at the closed door. Alexis Songblessed, still patting out the flames on his clothes, casts Cure Wounds on himself to heal some of the fire damage inflicted by the hellhound. Zurek heads over to the east door and listens carefully, but he can't hear anything, so he decides to cautiously open the door. He sees a passageway leading off into the darkness. Do they proceed this way, or investigate the stairs leading down to the south? Alexis, still smoking from the hellhound's fiery breath, doesn't wait for the party to decide on which route to take, but heads off down the stairs. The rest of the group hurry after Alexis, wondering what further trouble the paladin bard will get up to next. They join Alexis in a large room with 7 beds, clearly a barracks and sleeping quarters for the Dark-Elves. The party investigates the room, but finds nothing of note apart from 8 gold pieces, which Fairfax Whitbeam adds to the party treasure. Amos searches the room for hidden doors, but none are found. As they head off back up the stairs, Princess casts Prestidigitation to spruce up the room. Returning to the small room, growling can still be heard coming from the door to the west, so the party hurriedly take the door to the east. This leads to another passage with doors to the north and south. In the dim light they can make out stairs at the end going upwards. Zurek heads down the passageway and opens the door on the north wall. Inside he sees a storeroom with tables and chairs. It appears to be a dining area, as there are storage barrels towards the back of the room, along with jars full of water. Alexis Songblessed heads off along the passageway, opens the door to the south and enters the room. It seems to be a sacred chamber, as in the centre of the room there is a large pentagram drawn on the stone floor. On the west wall there is a raised plinth, bathed in a glowing red aura, and with this there is a large blood-coloured axe hanging from the wall. Could this be the magical axe they were in search for Princess Lady Amastacia, he thought. Princess enters the room and sees her prize. She moves towards the glowing red aura surrounding the axe, when Amos, seeing the potential danger, shouts, "Stop!" Fairfax Whitbeam quickly performs an Arcana check and determines that there is a high probability that there is a spell on the axe protecting it from thieves. The party have a lengthy debate on how best to retrieve the blood-coloured axe without triggering any of the spells guarding the item. Meanwhile, Alexis casts Divine Sense to check for any good or evil surrounding the axe, but no strong presence of either is detected. Frustrated, Princess throws a rock at the axe, but as it goes through the red aura, a bell can be heard ringing from the depths below. With a dull boom it continues to sound. It appears as though they have triggered some sort of alarm. Fairfax shouts to Princess, "You might as well just grab it now." Princess jumps up onto the plinth and takes the blood-coloured axe, holding it high above her head in triumph. Zurek suggests they make haste and exit the room through the door he's located along the east wall. Pushing the door open, it leads into a large crypt, but it appears to be a dead end. They are trapped. With the alarm bell ringing, Princess Lady Amastacia turns to look at the north door and sees a Drow warrior standing in the doorway right next to Alexis Songblessed. She goes into a rage and leaps at the Dark-Elf, but instead of attacking, Princess slams the door in its face. She then readies herself for battle in case the warrior breaks through the door. Princess realises they are in trouble. Looking down at the blood-coloured axe, she senses it has powerful magic that will need attunement in order to wield such a mighty weapon. Zurek heads back into the main room from the crypt and prepares his heavy crossbow. He passes Amos, who goes into the crypt and searches for any hidden doors that Zurek may have missed in his haste. The other party members prepare for battle. Fairfax readies an eldritch blast, and Alexis casts Shields of Faith to protect himself, then opens the door but can't see anybody. With the alarm bell still booming out, Princess draws her hand crossbow and steps into the corridor. To her left she sees the Drow warrior that tried to enter the room, and more disturbingly, a Drow mage carrying an ornate staff is coming down the corridor from her right. She quickly shoots at the warrior, the bolt piercing his shoulder as she retreats back inside the room and shuts the door. The party hear footsteps outside and a loud knock at the door, and a voice says, "We don't have many people who choose to come here. There is no way out. We will come in and get you when we are ready." In a surprise move to both the Dark-Elves and the party, Zurek opens the door, grabs the Drow mage and using his great strength, drags him inside the room and slams the door shut. While this is going on, Amos the Destroyer continues to search for a concealed door that could be used as a means of escape from the Dark-Elves, but he can't find anything. Giving up his search, Amos leaves the crypt, only to see Zurek wrestling with the Drow mage by the north door. Alexis Songblessed decides to subdue the Drow mage and hits him with his spear, then casts Smite to badly wound their captive. Fairfax Whitbeam moves up to the Drow mage and knocks him unconscious with shocking grasp. Amos the Destroyer gives Fairfax a wry smile. Princess asks, "Are we going to kill him, or are we going to bargain with his life?" Zurek suggests we use the Drow mage to bargain for our freedom. The party calls out to the Drow outside the room, "You have two choices. We give you the mage back and you let us go, or we kill him." One of the Drow replies, I can't make that decision." With that, footsteps and voices can be heard discussing what to do next. Princess drags the mage over to the raised plinth where the blood-coloured axe was hanging, and leaves the unconscious body there. Chancing his luck again, Zurek opens the door and jumps back out into the corridor and tries to grab the nearest Dark-Elf, but this time the victim becomes the attacker and grapples him. Princess rushes to the aid of Zurek and manages to break the Drow warrior's grip on him, and pulls him back into the room. Guess they won't fall for that trick again. Zurek, catching his breath, says that he saw at least 3 Drow warriors in the corridor. Amos the Destroyer now rages recklessly into the corridor and attacks the Dark Elf who wrestled with Zurek. He hits him at least once with his great axe. Another Drow wearing black leather armour now runs up from behind Amos and hits him with his blade. The damage is minimal, but the poison coating the weapon burns into the barbarian's open wound. Alexis Songblessed ponders what to do next. Amos shouts, Just hit him! Using his flag spear, he strikes out at the would-be assassin. Amos shouts again, Fairfax, do that blast thing! Alexis replies, What? Fireball? Zurek cries out, No! Fortunately, Fairfax Whipbeam casts Eldritch Blast, as beams of crackling energy reach out to the Drow assassin, but he manages to avoid the majority of the damage. Princess goes into a rage and attacks the Drow assassin recklessly, her great axe cutting through his black leather armour. Zurek also steps in and attacks the assassin, then with his sweeping attack hits the other Drow warrior in the corridor. As Zurek moves back after his attack, the Drow catch him with a short sword blow. The damage again is limited, but the poison on the blade burns his flesh. The Drow warrior in the corridor disengages from Alexis and Amos, who both take the opportunity to hit the retreating Dark Elf. Seeing this, another Drow warrior charges in from the opposite side and tries to hit Alexis, but the blow misses. With this, Amos the Destroyer goes into a killing frenzy and finishes off the Drow assassin in the black leather armour with 2 mighty swings of his great axe. He then moves into the corridor, hits the Drow swinging at Alexis, but his blow is parried. Amos then moves back into the north dining room. Alexis Songblessed shouts out, Do you want to surrender now? The response from the nearest Drow warrior sounds spiteful as he says, You are in our lair. You will not get out alive. With this, the party drag the Drow warrior into the room as Fairfax moves forward and casts Shocking Grasp, but misses. Princess, already in a rage, recklessly attacks, causing a critical hit on the warrior. She calmly says, This is your last chance to give up. Zurek shuts the door and swings the mighty Lightbringer at the Drow warrior, scoring 2 solid hits, but the second one is parried. The voice of a Dark Elf calls out, You may have killed some of us, but you won't be leaving here alive. I've let the dogs out. Zurek replies, Who let the dogs out? The elite Drow warrior now turns to attack Princess with his short sword, causing massive damage to the barbarian as poison from the blade enters her bloodstream. She looks weakened by the savage attack. Seeing the Hellhound run up the corridor towards the party, fire swirling around its mouth, Amos the Destroyer leaps out from the dining room and in a rage he recklessly swings his great axe at the beast 3 times. It stops, dead in its tracks. Seeing another 2 Hellhounds further down the corridor, he retreats back into the room to avoid their deadly fiery breath. Alexis continues to press home his attack on the elite Drow warrior, as Fairfax casts Blade Ward to protect himself from the slashing damage of his short sword. He then turns to Princess and casts Cure Wounds, revitalizing her so she can rejoin the fight. Amos hears all the commotion across the corridor as the party battle the remaining Drow in the room. With renewed strength, Princess Lady Amastacia attacks the Drow warrior, bringing her foe to his knees. Amos calls out, "Sounds like you're having fun over there." Zurek replies, "Yep, great fun. How are you doing over there?" as he wields the mighty Lightbringer against the heavily armoured elite Drow warrior, but the blow is parried. He allows Fairfax to retreat to safety using a manoeuvring attack, then finishes off the Dark Elf with a final crushing blow. Encouraged by Zurek, Amos jumps out into the corridor and throws 3 javelins at the closest hellhound. 2 find their mark. He then darts back into the relative safety of the dining room and closes the door. Alexis Songbless shouts out, "Are you going to surrender now?" One of the Dark Elves replies, "Sounds like desperation to me." Alexis casts vicious mockery while saying, "You sound like my grandmother," as these insults laced with a subtle enchantment cause psychic damage to the Dark Elf. With this, Alexis heads off in the opposite direction of the Drow and their hellhounds, up the stairs at the east end of the corridor, and into a room that appears to be a prison area, with torture equipment and holding cells along the back wall. He notices a figure in one of the cells. Fairfax Whitbeam moves out into the corridor. Turning to see the Drow warrior with her hellhounds, he casts Chromatic Orb. Using favoured by the gods, lightning envelops the Drow warrior, causing her to scream in pain. With this, Princess picks up the dead elite Drow warrior in the room and throws the body out into the corridor. She then takes out the hand crossbow liberated from their earlier battle with the Drow guards and fires at the Dark Elf that is still smoking from the lightning damage. The Drow warrior falls to the floor, the crossbow bolt firmly embedded in her forehead. Princess shouts, "This is your last chance." Zurek moves into the corridor, runs towards the hellhounds. Grabbing the nearest one, he tries to throw it back towards Fairfax, but fails to move the beast. The remaining 2 hellhounds attack together using pack tactics, as sharp teeth bite down on Zurek's arms. Fire from their mouths burn his flesh. Amos the Destroyer, hearing the noises of battle, throws open the dining room door and runs along the corridor to help his friend Zurek. Bringing his great axe down on the beast that still has 2 of his javelins embedded in its side, he kills the hellhound in a reckless rage. Meanwhile, Alexis cautiously moves towards the cell with the prisoner inside and starts to talk to him. He tries to open the door, but it is locked and won't open. Fairfax Whitbeam gathers his magic strength and moves up to join the fight. Standing behind Zurek for cover, he casts Magic Missile at the remaining hellhound, causing force damage to the beast. The hellhound slowly turns to Fairfax and returns the favour by casting Fire Breath, hitting both Zurek and Fairfax in the blast. Using their dexterity, they both try to avoid the flames, but in the confined space they fail. Only by using Shieldmaster does Zurek manage to reduce the damage from the hellhound's fiery breath. Princess heads up the corridor towards the noise of battle and hits the hellhound with 2 blows from a great axe. Zurek finishes off the last beast with 1 swing of Lightbringer that crushes the hellhound's skull, bringing it to the ground. An eerie silence fills the passage. Alexis can be heard at the far end shouting, "What took you so long?" Amos the Destroyer, still in battle rage, heads back down to the plinth where they had left the unconscious mage and takes his head clean off with his great axe. A wry smile washes over the barbarian's face. The rest of the party search bodies for gold and useful items. Then Zurek joins Alexis and forces open the prison cell door. The man inside looks as though he had been tortured by the Drow, so he casts Cure Wounds to bring him round. Zurek props the man on the torture bench as Amos asks the prisoner his name, to which he replies, "Gil." Zurek finds a small room in the southeast corner. Inside, he locates a number of maps, that don't make much sense at the moment, so he hands the parchments to Fairfax Whitbeam for safekeeping. After the battle, a few of the party members are looking a bit worse for wear, so they decide to secure the torture chamber and take a long rest in the room. They check that there are no hidden doors to the room and make Gil comfortable by placing him inside Leomund's tiny hut, which Alexis Songblessed casts. Nothing of note happens while the adventurers rest from their battle with the Dark-Elves. As they wake up, Amos asks Gil how he got here, to which he explains that he was captured by a Drow raiding party who took him and his 3 friends captive. He is not sure where the others are now, they may be dead. After performing a history check, the party recall that the Drow are known for coming to the surface from time to time to capture slaves to work for them in the Underdark. Gil confirms that he is from a place south of Leolin and continues to wonder what happened to his friends. Too weak to walk, Zurek agrees to carry him out through the Dark-Elf stronghold. The party consider what light sources to use as they explore the area. Fairfax gives Zurek some oil for his lantern, as he casts a light spell for himself. Princess has dark vision, as does Alexis if he wears his magical goggles. Amos just follows the light. After checking the area, there appear to be no further hidden rooms or corridors that they have not explored, so the party decide to head back up through the caves to the surface. As they continue through the tunnels and caverns, Fairfax Whitbeam sees what he believes to be a discarded cloak on the ground. As he goes to pick it up, it seems that this was no cloak, but the wings of a terrifying creature that appears to be annoyed that it's been disturbed.